Good day to the respective lecturer. Myself, I'm Deodashi Rajan from Group 7. Today, me and my team members would like to present Topic 8 Coercion and Undue Influence, their respective effects upon viability of contract. So, there are four members in my team members, including myself, Deodashi Rajan. Following will be Osman Fridaus bin Saiful, Nitya Sri Rajamanikam, and Padmarajan Gopal. For the table of content, first will be introduction regarding coercion and undue influence, following will be viability of contract content. Second will be the legal principle explanation and elaboration. Third will be the example case study of viability of contract. And fourth will be the conclusion. Now let's look at the introduction. For the introduction, what is coercion? Coercion is influence where influence someone into making a decision without resorting to a direct threat. Furthermore, undue influence will be using their apparent power to persuade someone to make a decision. Now let's look at regarding viability of contract. First, what is viability of contract? A formal agreement between two parties that could be declared unenforceable for a variety of legal grounds. This could happen by a mistake, misrepresentation, or a fraud. How does viability contract works? Viability contract is regarded as a binding legal agreement where they got found out to have flaws. It may get rejected by the other side of the parties. Example potential of viability contract will be freemium apps where the children may accept the minor terms and conditions associated with their gameplay, but at the end of the day, the terms may allow for the later solicitation of in-purchases regarding the game features. That's all from me, thank you. The next is represented by Osman.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Osman Firdaus and I will share you about coercion and undue influence. Under Section 15 of the Contract Act 1950, coercion is defined as committing or threatening to commit any act forbidden by the Penal Code, or unlawfully detaining or threatening to detain any property with the intention of causing any person to enter into an agreement. Example for this case: Michael wants to buy a piece of land from David. Michael threatens David with physical harm if he does not sell the land at low price. David, fearing for his safety, agrees to the sale. Application for this case: Michael threats constitutes coercion. Therefore, the contract is voidable at David's option. David can choose to either honor the contract or cancel it and reclaim it his property. Voidability: a contract formed under coercion is voidable at the option of coerced party. This means that the coerced party has the right to either affirm to go through with the contract or rescind. Legal outcome: rescinding the contract. If David chooses to rescind the contract, he must take legal steps to declare the contract void due to coercion. This often involves returning any received payment and reclaiming his property. Next, affirming the contract. David also can choose to affirm the contract by voluntarily accept the term despite initial coercion, and the contract remains binding. Next, we go to undue influence. Under Section 16 of the Contract Act 1950, undue influence is defined as a situation where the relations subsisting between the parties are such that one party is in a position to dominate the will of the other and use the position to obtain an unfair advantage. Element of undue influence: first, position of dominance. One party must be in a position to dominate the will of the others. Second, unfair advantage. the dominant party used this position to obtain an advantage that is not genuinely beneficial to the other party. Example for this case. Jan is an elderly woman who relies heavily on her caregiver, Linda. Linda persuades Jane to transfer her property to her, claiming it's for her benefit. Jane, trusting Linda, agrees to the transfer. Application for this case. Linda's position of trust allows her to unduly influence Jane's decision. Hence, the contract is voidable at Jane's position. Jane can choose to either affirm to the transfer or cancel it due to undue influence. Voidability. A contract entered into under undue influence is voidable at the option of the influenced party. The influenced party can either affirm to rescind the contract. The burden of proof initially lies on the party in a dominant position to prove that the contract was not influenced by undue influence. Legal outcome for this case, rescinding the contract. If James decides to rescind the contract, she must take legal steps to declare the contract void due undue influence. This typically involves legal proceeding where the contract evaluates the presence of undue influence and order the reversal of the property transfer. Or Linda also can affirming the contract. If Jane decides to affirm the contract, she voluntarily Jane. Affirming the contract. If Jane decides to affirm the contract, she voluntarily accepts the term despite the initial undue influence, and the contract remains binding. And that's all from me. I will pass to the next person. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Batmarajan. Contracts must be entered into with free consent. However, coercion and undue influence can make a contract voidable at the option of an aggrieved party. Coercion involves threats or force to obtain consent. Undue influence occurs when a dominant party unfairly manipulates another decision. So, for the coercion, the story before this of Michael and David. Michael threatens David with physical harm if he does not sell his land for lower price. Fearing for his safety, David agrees to sell the land. So the outcome for the story is, for the case, contract is voidable under section 15 of the Contract Act 1872. David can challenge and rescind the contract in court. For the undue influence about the story of Linda and Jane before this, Jane, an elderly woman, relies heavily on her caregiver Linda. Linda persuades Jane to transfer her property claiming it's for her benefits. Jane trusts Linda and agrees. The outcome of the case is contract is voidable under section 16 of the Contract Act 1872. Jane can challenge the contract if undue influence is proven. So, for the effects for the cases is coercion, if consent is obtained by force or threats, the contract is voidable. For the undue influence, if consent is obtained through manipulation in a relationship of trust, the contract is voidable. The aggrieved party has the right to rescind the contract. Courts may require the dominant party to prove fairness in undue influence cases. Coercion and undue influence both affect free consent, making contracts voidable at the discretion of the weaker party. Coercion involves force or threats, whereas undue influence involves manipulation and exploitation of a dominant position. If coercion or undue influence is proven, the contract can be rescinded or declared unenforceable. So, this is how these cases related to this case law.
Hello, I'm Nityashri. Today we're going to say about conclusion. Understanding correlation and undue influence highlights the importance of free will be contractual agreement, the law protection individual from being forced into unfair deals and ensure the contracts reflects true instead. If a contract is influenced by coercion and undue influence, legal remedies are available to stop fair. The concept of avoidability serves a curious safeguards, allowing victims to escape unjust agreements. It ensures protection by preventing individuals from being legal bound to contracts they did not willing enter. The principle promoting fair dealings by requiring mutual agreements without manipulation or pressures. Additionally, the law provides treatment for those affected, allowing them to legal action to declare the contract void if necessary. In summary, consent may always be free and fair for a contract to valid. The law provides protection against coercion and undue in influence, ensuring justice and an ethical agreement. By understanding this principle, individual can navigation contracts wisely, safeguarding the rights and promoting fairness in legal dealing. In both cases, the law gives the affected party the rights to either accept the contract or cancel it through legal means. This ensures that agreements are made fairly and freely, without fear manipulation or exploitation. These protections are crucial in maintaining trust in legal agreements, ensuring that contracts reflect true consent rather than pressures or influence.